While all the Whos of Whoville were at McDonald's eating, the Grinch from his lair started plotting and scheming. Gherkin-flavored fries and odd socks will send them crackers. So try the Grinch's new meal and head down to Macca's. Until 4th of Jan from 11 a.m. Price and participation may vary while stocks last. Grinched for adults.
'Twas Christmas in Dublin, and Puss was in Boots where he found better than half price on electrical beauty. Including Mark Hill Pick and Mix Air Flexi Air Styler was €219.99, now only €105.99. Don't miss out. Shop in-store or online. Gift happily ever after. Boots. Subject to availability, selected stores. Offer ends 6th of January 2026.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are here at the End Zone Club podcast with your host, none other than Anthony Mitchell. And here at the End Zone Club podcast, we have conversations that are wrapped around things we know now, wish we knew when we were younger. Hey, before we launch out to more in today's episode, I'd like to encourage you to like, rate, share, subscribe. Get this content in the ears of some new listeners. Help us to spread the word by doing your part in engaging our next generation of leaders. With that said, we're ready to go live in 3, 2.
Hello, everyone. This is Andre Truitt, representative for Just Gifted Clothing Brand. If you have individual talent of any kind, we are talking to you. Join this clothing brand that has built a community of people that encourages others to use their gifts and talents. Man, we are the fastest growing brand that you haven't heard of yet. To find out what we're really about, just go to justgiftedclothingbrand.com. Let me spell that out for you. JUSGIFTED clothingbrand.com. One more time for you. JUSGIFTED clothingbrand.com. Talent in any way, you're just gifted.
Hey there. Did you know that this podcast has a supporters club? By becoming a supporter of the show, you can gain access to exclusive content and play an active role in helping the podcaster continue producing the content you love. See the link in the episode description for more details. Now, let's get back to the episode.
All right, this is Anthony Mitchell here at the End Zone Club podcast. Thanking you guys again for tuning in for today's episode. For today's content, I think I'm going to hold myself to a challenge this week. Since you guys say that I like to talk, I'm going to see if I can record new content every day this week. That's my personal challenge. New content every day this week. I think spiritually I'm feeling full and I feel a need to share with you guys what's been downloaded in my heart. But today and today only, I want to briefly talk about not allowing anyone to take your kindness for weakness. Now, this is probably going to be one of those topics as you continue to grow older, you're going to hear more and more. Don't let anybody take your kindness for weakness. And as a footnote for today's conversation, I'd like to again shout out my guys over there at Just Gifted Clothing Brand. Was blessed last night to have a very touching conversation with them, i.e. the owner, the founder, the creator, Andre Truitt. Shout out to him and the wonderful things he's doing in his community and all across the United States, getting those who are working hard, working in silence, but working without much fanfare, getting them the recognition they deserve and making sure they understand that their talents count and they matter. With that said, again, anytime somebody links up with you, anytime somebody's a blessing to your platform, whatever you're doing, make sure you take the time to let them know that they are appreciated. With that said, guys, I was reminiscing this morning. This is one of those mornings where I got a lot going on. However, I wanted to take the time to carve out a conversation because I was reminiscing about a moment I had earlier on after college where a friend of mine, and I like to use the terms friend loosely, was in a point in life where he was a little older than I was, but he was probably like someone all of his life who had been coddled, which I think is also can be an issue, especially for a male. At some point, males should have a sense of just wanting to get out, wanting to explore, wanting to set their stakes in the ground, and just be independent. I do think that most males will or should have that. I understand that there are some capacities where males are codependent and can't live on their own. I get it. But for the most part, most men seem to have a sense of ambition where they're looking for their sense, their plot of territory, and they want to go out and do their own thing. Well, with my homeboy, this was not the case. He was probably pushing closer to 40, had never really been on his own, had never worked a job. There were a lot of things he was lacking, but in his situation, there was someone who allowed him to feel like he was the victim, so to speak. And within this victimhood came this projected sense that everybody's here to take care of you. Well, fast forward into the equation, this individual who's coddled him and has sheltered him, various things, is now married, has now brought someone new into the fold. And one thing he started noticing, and this is the new guy that's in the picture, was that the son, who was a grown man, who should have been out, should have been on his own, was very dependent. So after some back and forth and different things, he thought it was best for the young man to basically to go west, young man. You know what that means? He put him out. Let's just call a spade a spade. He put him out in hopes of this young man getting a sense of independence and learning how to swim on his own. So I never forget, I live kind of further out from most of the people I dealt with. For peace sake, sometimes I think it's good to be away from your friends and your family, just a little bit. That way you could, or even your coworkers, if you want to enjoy life differently, you don't have people in your backyard looking over your fence and coming back with all sorts of rumors. You can kind of live in peace. And that was my MO. I didn't keep a lot of people in and out of my apartment. I just didn't do it, because I do know something about us is that we carry spirits. Some people call it energy. Some people call it attitude. Some people call it influence. Whatever you call it, whatever influence that you're under, you can bring that negative or positive energy into my home. And I was always one that was very careful about what I allowed in my home, because my main push for anywhere I live has always been to live in peace and you to feel that peace when you walk through that door. So in order for me to accomplish that, I have to be very protective over what comes into my home. However, something happened where this individual had a flat tire and he was stranded and he was out on my neck of the woods. So he called and, hey, listen, don't have a spare. I've got a flat. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. I know you live. Do you mind coming to help? And it was just one of those things that I wasn't home, but I'm like, hey, I can try to help you any way I can once I get back. And, just from having a helpful heart, loving heart, I didn't think much about it. What time of the evening it was, that I think it was like a Friday evening. Most of your tire shops are going to be closed by that point that he experienced this. So me living out away, and like I said, I live by myself, I'm like, once I get back and I'm assessing the situation and realizing not only does he have a flat tire, he's got a bent rim. I mean, just destroyed. And I'm like, man, now this is a weird situation. This guy lives an hour away from me and I can try to bring him back home tonight or wherever he's staying, which at the time I didn't know that he wasn't staying anywhere. And I'm feeling kind of humbled as I'm trying to dig in the story, figure out, man, what can I do to help? Like, where do I need to bring you? Do you have a spare? I didn't know. Okay, I said earlier he didn't have a spare, but at the time I didn't know this. So in real time, I'm unpacking everything and I'm finding out, oh, okay, he's really not set up. So I realized, even though this guy was probably 10 years my senior, that he really had never learn just the basic functions of even taking care of a car. So I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. You can stay here tonight. I'm off work tomorrow. I'll help you get your situation rectified. Next morning comes around, he's there all night. Oh, no. Let me add this to the plot. As I'm trying to figure out how I can best help this young man. It didn't take very long into the conversation, and he volunteered to stay at my place for the night. I forgot to tell you all that. If you remember what I told you earlier, I'm very careful about what I've let into my home. So now I'm batting 0 for 3 because now you're broken down. Now you don't have what you need. Now you're basically, in essence, telling me you don't have anywhere to stay and you're wanting to stay here. So now I'm just like, all right, you know what? Let me ask the real situation. Do you now have the money to take care of your tire? Which he says he did. So fast forward now to the next day. I let him stay. Man, he got super duper comfortable on my couch. And I'm observing this. And something happens. Maybe the church calls. I've got to leave. And I'm like, hey, don't worry about anything. You need anything. There's food in the refrigerator, in the cabinet. Make you a sandwich, pot of noodles, whatever. Order takeout. It don't matter. You're in good company. Let's just make sure you get your car taken care of today. Well, I came back home and he's still on the couch, 2, 3 in the afternoon, hadn't gotten up, hadn't taken a shower, washed his face, brushed his teeth. And I'm like, wait a minute now. What's going on here? What's going on, my friend? Because for most people who are ambitious or have a sense of knowing, hey, I got to get this taken care of. It's a weekend. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Laying around till 3 o'clock in the afternoon does not show that you have some get up and go. So I'm already now getting perturbed because to know me personally, like I said, I'm an understanding person. But when it comes time to take care of work and take care of business, we got to stand on that when it's time to do it. And this was just not the time for him to be laying around my home. As an older guy and me as a younger guy, I'm out in these streets working, trying to make extra money, do whatever I have to do to make sure my obligations are paid. So when I come through the door, I'm like, hey, how did it go? Did you find what you needed? And he gave me a story. Man, this, that, third, they didn't have it. Whoop-de-whoop. Gave me a hard time. So then as I start listening to the story, I'm like, all right, okay, now we're getting to the root of the matter because I have a few more questions that are popping up, but I'm letting him, as he's talking, share his story. So I instinctively begin to ask, where did you go for help? Where did you go looking for a tire? And then I come to find out he really hadn't been anywhere. He had really kind of formulated the story in his mind. And then he told me, in essence, he felt so much peace in my home, he didn't want to leave. So I just, let's shelve that for a minute because I still needed to come in, take a shower, had been working various things from this pop-up job that occurred the church needed me to do. So I changed clothes. I ordered some food before I get in the shower. That way I can shower, change, whatever I need to do. And by the time I get out, that food should be here. Don't you know this joker ate up? I ordered like a large pizza. Out of that large pizza, I probably got like 2 slices. He just took it on himself to eat up my food. And that's when I kind of got a little triggered because I'm like, all right, now I'm realizing that this is not an individual that's looking to help himself. He's looking to be carried. He felt like I owed him that food after, I give you a place to stay for the night. You're here, whatever. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's go get in this vehicle. We're going to get you a tire. So I went and paid for the tire, got it put on his car. And then he comes back. We get everything fixed, ready to go. And I'm thinking, well, man, where you going next? And then that's when I found out he didn't have anywhere to go. And I felt kind of bad, but I was like, man, I can't put this guy on the streets, but I'm realizing that if I leave you here, you're going to drain me of all of my resources. I'm not rich. I'm just a young working class year-old guy trying to take care of my own, trying to build my own. But I'm realizing now that you're telling me you don't have a job or whatever, but he did get an income coming in, which is another story. It's nothing illegal. It's just I found out then that he got a check every month, but he might have been known to blow that a little bit. So the long story short, I ended up calling the family, and I'm like, hey, listen, I called the new man in the picture. Thankfully, I knew the guy a little bit and had some interaction. So I called him directly, wanted him to know, listen, I understand all that has occurred. He's here right now. He's in here snoring. I'm trying to open the gate and encourage the horse to run out. Go find your pasture. And he just was not understanding what I was very directly telling him to go. And I'm like, hey, listen, I understand you're wanting to teach him a lesson, but this is not a young man that should be on his own. He is not prepared. Maybe in this next portion of life, maybe we can spend more time preparing this guy for independence. I said all that to say this, that in that moment, I kind of had to stand up for myself, because if I didn't, this individual would have bled me for all it was worth, and we both now would have been having nothing and whatever. So I say all that to say this, that sometimes if you don't set healthy boundaries with people, letting them know where you're comfortable, what you're comfortable with, what you will or won't allow, some people, for whatever it's worth, will take your kindness for weakness. Anyway, that's my spill for the day. I want to thank you guys for just coming out, listening to today's episode. Again, I encourage you to like, share, rate, subscribe. Click the links in the bio. Go visit our website. You can see some of the other things that the End Zone Club podcast has their hands involved with, i.e. in the community and abroad. You can also, if you feel encouraged, you like today's content or maybe some of our past content, maybe you feel the need to want to donate, I encourage you to click the link in the bio. There are multiple links that you can click that point to the same place. But you can give a small $5, $10 donation. You can give a $20 donation. You can give a donation of any choice of size. We are hopefully gearing up to have one more summer of outreach opportunities and outlets for the kids. All of that has been made possible by generous donors and sponsors that believe in what we're doing. Anyway, that's today's content. You're listening to the End Zone Club, and this is your host, Anthony Mitchell, where our purpose is to push you from walking in potential to fulfilling your destiny.
And now, a look at the forecast. We're seeing lots of wind, plenty of sunshine to come, and a long-term outlook that's bright for Ireland.
At EirGrid, our forecast is for a sustainable energy future. We're upgrading the electricity grid so every home, business and community can benefit. We're powering up Ireland. Learn more at airgrid.ie.
Did you know you can opt out of winter? With Vrbo, save up to $1,500 for booking a month-long stay. With thousands of sunny homes, why subject yourself to the cold? Just filter your search by monthly stays and save up to $1,500. Book now at Vrbo.com.